son did not resist the pain. He embraced it for the joy that was set before him. And that joy was you. Yes, you. Not the perfect version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you, but the version that is broken, confused, tired. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Tired. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Tired. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Tired. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Version of you, not the version you think you need to become before I accept you. I died to redeem. want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. The version that is broken, that is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. I accept you, I die. That is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. I accept you, I die. I accept you, I die. That is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. I accept you, I die. That is the one I want right now. Higher than you, not the version I think you need to be. Before I accept you, I die. I accept you, I die. I accept you, I die.
Creator's peace comes whenever it came, and his life became a living testament to the love and strength that flowed from his peace. No longer burdened by the weight of self-doubt or fear, Wyatt stood tall, for he knew that knowing that he was chosen to carry, knowing that he was loved. As the days passed, Wyatt's heart grew strong, and as he walked through life, he shared this truth. As the days passed, Wyatt's heart grew strong, that the Creator's steps was not just for him, the Creator's peace comes whenever it came, and his life became a living testament to the love and strength. And his life became a living testament to the love and strength. Let this truth settle deep within your soul, and know that you are never alone, for the Creator is always by your side, loving you, guiding you, burdened by the weight of self-doubt and fear. In the heart of Wyatt stood tall, beneath the vast sky that stretches over the mountains and valleys. There is a sacred truth passed down from our ancestors. God will renew your life. Just as the seasons change, bringing new growth after the winter, so too the Creator's life on the land is dry and chosen, living heart and love, God is already at work. His life became a living testament to love and strength. Restoration will come, filling the earth and your soul with abundance. His blessings are never always by your, and they come at the perfect time. There was once a young woman named Ayana, eternal. She had known much sorrow in her life. Her family's lands had suffered, her people had struggled, and the weight of the world seemed to press upon her heart. Every day was a fight against the winds of hardship, and no matter how hard she worked, the harvest was not. Ayana used to wonder if the land was dry, the sky gray. She carried a love and strength. She could not see how things would ever change, how the blessing she had prayed for would ever come. But the Creator sees beyond what we can understand, beyond the struggles and the long wait. One evening, as Ayana sat alone by the river, her heart heavy with sadness, she looked at the still waters, watching the ripples fade away. When will the rain come? She whispered. When will the blessings fill my life, my land, and my people? But the Creator sees beyond our standards, beyond our standards. One evening, as Ayana sat alone by the river, her heart heavy with sadness, she looked at the still waters, watching the ripples fade away. When will the rain come? She whispered. When will the blessings fill my life, my land, and my people? The river, like the Creator, did not answer with words, but with presence. Ayana closed her eyes and listened, as the wind carried the whisper of the Creator. My child, I see your pain, and I hear your cries. I am preparing a season of blessing for you. What seems will soon be filled with life. The rain will come, the blessings that are meant for you. Ayana felt the weight of her doubt lift, and in its place, she felt a deep sense of peace. The Creator's voice was gentle, but it was filled with power. The river before her, once still and quiet, began to move with her rhythm, as if it too understood the promise of the words to come. The trees around her, bare and empty, seemed to stand tall, their branches reaching toward the sky. I am working, the Creator says, and I am working this time. I see you flowing into your life. I am the promise of you, and I am the first thing in your heart. The struggle shaped you, long way, not the end of the story. The Creator was preparing something great for her, something she did not yet see, but the trust was coming. Her season of restoration was on the horizon. Days passed, and the winds carried her whisper. Ayana could feel the change in the air, the first signs of rain before the storm. She began to walk with a new sense of purpose. Her steps were lighter, her heart filled with hope, for she knew that the Creator's still was working. restoration and abundance. God had renewed her life, and his blessings had come at the perfect time. In the heart of the sacred land, where the wind whispers ancient wisdom and the stars illuminate at night with their timeless light, there exists a deep truth known by the elders of the tribe. God promises restoration and glory. When the earth is worn and weary, when the people feel lost and disconnected, he prepares a new season of growth and renewal. What has been broken will be made whole, and doors that were once closed will swing wide open, bringing new beginnings, new connections, and a deep sense of peace. A young man named Dakota, meaning friend to everyone, had known much pain in his life. He had lost his family in a great storm. The winds that had once carried joy now brought sorrow. His people, once united, were torn apart by disputes and misunderstandings. Dakota's heart was heavy, burdened with grief and confusion. He wondered if peace would ever return to his life, and if the bond between his people could ever be restored. The fires of anger and regret seemed to burn brightly, and Dakota's spirit, like the dry earth beneath the sun, felt parched and lifeless. One evening, as the sun dipped low, casting its golden glow across the land, Dakota went to a quiet place by the river. The water flowed gently, yet its rhythm was steady and strong. He sat on the shore, listening to the whisper of the Creator's voice in the wind, asking, "Will the pain ever fade? Will the divisions be healed? Will I see a day when the blessings flow again?" As he sat in silence, a voice rose from within him, clear and firm, like the distant thunder that precedes the rain. It was the Creator speaking to his heart. "Dakota, my child, you have walked through the storm, but the rain is coming. The dry earth will be watered, and the seeds of peace you have planted will grow into a harvest of blessings. What was broken will be made whole, and what seemed lost will be found." Dakota closed his eyes, feeling the weight of those words. The Creator's promise was not just of healing, but of glory, a glory that would shine through the restoration of his people, the mending of hearts, and the opening of doors that had long been shut. The Creator was working in ways unseen, preparing a time when the wounds of the past would no longer define him or his people. The road ahead was not one of despair, but of renewal. Days turned into weeks, and Dakota walked with a new sense of purpose. Though the changes were not immediately visible, he trusted in the promise that the Creator was preparing something beautiful. His people, too, felt the stirrings of hope in their hearts. The disputes that had once seemed insurmountable began to soften, and the bitterness that had filled their tongues began to be replaced with words of understanding. The doors that had been locked in anger slowly creaked open, and relationships that had been fractured began to heal. Dakota, with his quiet strength, became a beacon of the Creator's promises, guiding his people with patience and faith. Then, one morning, as the first rays of the sun touched the earth, something miraculous happened. The rain began to fall. It was gentle at first, a soft mist that kissed the earth. But soon, it became a steady downpour, filling the rivers and nourishing the land. Where once there was drought, now there was abundance. The crops began to grow, the trees began to bud, and Dakota could feel the change in the air. The Creator's promise of restoration had arrived. Not only was the land renewed, but so were the relationships among people. Families that had been divided came together, and friendships that had been broken were restored. The doors that had been closed for so long were now wide open, bringing with them new opportunities and new beginnings. The glory of the Creator's promise was unfolding before them, and Dakota felt a deep sense of peace in his heart. The storm had passed, and the rainbow of blessings now filled the sky. Dakota knew that this was not the end of his journey, but the beginning of a new chapter. He had witnessed the power of the Creator's promises, and his heart was filled with gratitude. The Creator had not abandoned him, nor had he abandoned his people. Restoration had come, and with it, glory. Dakota shared this story with his people, reminding them that no matter how difficult the journey, the Creator's love would always guide them to a place. And so, in the heart of the sacred land, the people flourished. The winds of peace now carried their songs of unity and joy, and the rivers once dry now flowed with abundance. The Creator had fulfilled his promise. What was broken had been made whole, and the doors to a new season had opened wide. Dakota walked proudly, knowing that he had been chosen to witness this renewal, and that the glory of the Creator's love would always be with him. the vast expanse of the mountains, where the sky kisses the earth and the rivers sing their ancient songs, there is a story known by the elders. It is a story of relying on God's guidance through the trials of life, understanding that every pain and every struggle serves a greater purpose. The Creator walks with each of us, leading us through the storms, guiding our every step with love, protection, and wisdom. The trials we face are not without meaning, and the Creator, in His infinite wisdom, uses them to shape us, to teach us, and to prepare us for the bright future that lies ahead. There was once a young warrior named Wea, whose name meant wolf in the language of his people. From a young age, he had faced many hardships. His family had been scattered by war, his home destroyed by fire, and his spirit tested by the loss of his elders, who had passed on to the spirit world. Wea's heart was heavy with grief, and though he knew the Creator's love, the pain in his chest felt like an unbearable weight. He questioned why the Creator had allowed so much sorrow to touch his life. Could the trials be a part of a greater plan, he wondered. One evening, as the sun set behind the distant mountains, casting long shadows across the earth, Wea sought solace by the river. The waters were calm, but the stillness of the moment did little to ease his troubled heart. He sat beside the river, his thoughts heavy, and whispered to the Creator, "Why, Creator, do you test me so? My heart is weary, and my spirit broken. What is the purpose of these trials?" As the night embraced the land, a soft wind began to blow, carrying with it the gentle whispers of the Creator. "Wea, my child, you are not alone in this journey," the Creator's voice echoed in his heart. "Every trial you face, every pain you carry has a purpose. These moments are not meant to break you, but to shape you, to guide you. You must trust in me, for I am leading you through the storm, preparing you for the future that awaits." Wea listened carefully to the words, feeling a deep sense of peace wash over him. Though he could not yet see the path clearly, he trusted that the Creator was guiding him. The Creator's voice was gentle, but it was strong, full of the wisdom of the ages. Wea knew that this was not the end of his story, but rather the beginning of something greater. The trials he faced were not punishments, but lessons, and the Creator's guidance would lead him through them. Days turned into weeks, and Wea began to walk with a new purpose. He did not always understand why things happened the way they did, but he trusted that the Creator was leading him. The pain in his heart began to ease, and he found strength in the knowledge that each step he took was guided by the Creator's hand. The Creator was not distant, but close, walking beside him, protecting him, and preparing him for the future. Then, one morning, as Wea stood on the edge of a high cliff, overlooking the valley below, he felt a deep sense of clarity. The path he had walked, though difficult, had shaped him into a stronger and wiser person. He saw now that every trial had a purpose. The struggles had taught him patience, humility, and resilience. The Creator had used each challenge to refine him, to guide him, and to prepare him for the bright future that awaited. In the distance, Wea could see the smoke rising from the fires of his people. His journey had not only healed his heart, but had also brought him closer to his tribe. He knew that the Creator's guidance would lead him to bring peace, unity, and strength to his people. The trials he had faced had given him the wisdom to lead with compassion and understanding. Wea's heart swelled with gratitude, for he knew now that the Creator's love was always with him. The pain he had once felt had been transformed into strength, and he stood tall, knowing that the Creator had guided him through it all. Every step had been part of a greater plan for guidance and trusting in the Creator's provision. Slowly, she began to see changes, not in the world around her, but within herself. The emptiness in her heart was filled with a quiet peace, a peace that flowed from the Creator's love, and she began to trust more fully in His plan for her life. One day, as she sat by the river, her thoughts drifting like the leaves on the water, Wea noticed something that had not been there before. Flowers had bloomed along the river's edge. They were vibrant and full of life, filling the air with their sweet fragrance. She smiled softly to herself. The flowers, like the Creator's love, had always been there waiting for her to recognize them. Her heart, once burdened with sorrow, was now light, filled with the abundance of the Creator's love and blessings. It was then that Wea understood the deeper truth. Prayer and gratitude were not just rituals, but a way of life, a way to invite the Creator's peace and provision into every moment. As she gave thanks each day, she opened herself to the blessings that the Creator was ready to bestow. Her life, once clouded with grief and doubt, was now filled with hope, clarity, and purpose. From that day forward, Wee Yaya shared this wisdom with her people. She taught them to give thanks each day, to trust in the Creator's provision, and to believe that their prayers would be heard. Her tribe, once burdened with sorrow, began to thrive. The blessings of peace, unity, and abundance flowed through their lives, just as the Creator had promised. In the quiet, vast wilderness of the world, there lies a truth as old as the wind itself. It whispers through the trees and carries with the current of the rivers. What you lack today will be filled, in time, with abundance. The land is patient. The mountains wait with timeless grace, and the rivers move gently, understanding the seasons of life. The Creator speaks of timing, a rhythm that cannot be hurried, but must be trusted. Every leaf that falls, every stone that is turned, all unfold according to His will, in His time. I remember a time, not long ago, when I sat by a river, alone with my thoughts. The day had been long, and my spirit felt weary, weighed down by the troubles of life. My heart was filled with questions that seemed to echo endlessly in silence. Why do I feel so empty? Why do I long for something I cannot reach? I whispered to the sky, as if the wind might carry my words to the Creator. It was then that I felt a soft breeze, gentle yet strong, brushing against my face. It was the answer, though it was not spoken in words. The wind told me something simple, something that I had forgotten in my searching. Your lack is not a punishment, but a preparation. The Creator is working, even when you cannot see. In that moment, I felt a shift in my heart. I realized that the emptiness I felt was not a sign of absence, but a promise. The promise that in time, my hands would overflow with what I needed, perhaps not what I expected, but what was meant for me. The Creator, in His infinite wisdom, understands our hearts more deeply than we ever could. He knows the quiet, unspoken desires that rest in our spirits, the silent prayers we send up with every breath. And though the path may seem long and the seasons harsh, He is preparing the blessings that will fill us when the time is right. Like the oak tree that grows in the shadow of the mountains, we too must grow in patience. The seed does not rush to become the tree it waits. And in that waiting, it is nourished, its roots growing deep into the earth, drawing strength from unseen places. So too are we nourished by faith. There are times when life seems barren, when the landscape of our hearts feels dry, and the world around us seems to withhold the very things we need. We may feel as though we are walking through a desert with no oasis in sight. But it is in these times that the Creator is at work, preparing the soil of our souls for the harvest to come. I think back to the seasons of my life when I felt as though I had nothing left to give, when my hands were empty, my spirit was tired. I thought I had reached the end of the road. But just as the winter gives way to the spring, the time of waiting brings about the time of growth. And I began to see that everything, the waiting, the longing, the struggle, was leading to something more beautiful than I could have imagined. There are many who walk with their heads bowed, discouraged by what they see, unable to trust that the Creator's hand is moving. They forget that the Creator's promises are never forgotten. He is always working, even in the quiet. His provision is not limited by the boundaries of our understanding. What He gives in abundance, beyond what we can hope or dream. What you lack today will overflow in abundance. This is a promise we can hold on to in our hearts, even when the path ahead seems unclear. For just as the moon must go through phases of darkness before it reaches its fullness, so too must our spirits go through seasons of silence, of waiting. And when the time is right, we will shine. As I sat by the river that day, I felt the weight of my worries lift. The river, steady and sure, flowed beside me, its waters never questioning their course. And I too must trust that the Creator has a path for me, a path that will lead me to the blessings He has promised. In His time, the dryness will end, and the land will be filled with plenty. It is in the quiet moments that the stillness, I hear the Creator's whisper. Trust me, my child. I see you. I am working for you. Be still and know that I am with you. I walked away from the river that day, feeling lighter, knowing that what I lack today will not always be lacking. The Creator has promised to fill me, to provide in ways I cannot yet see. And in His promise, I find my strength, my faith, and my peace. In the quiet of the forest, where the trees stand tall and the winds whisper through the branches, there is a truth that echoes like the beating of a drum. The Creator sees all, feels all, and understands even the deepest burdens of the heart. We are His children, and He watches over us, not just in our moments of strength, but also in our weakest, most silent moments. There was a man once who walked alone in the hills, his heart heavy with sorrow. His footsteps were slow, as if each step was weighed down by an invisible load. His thoughts were tangled, his spirit weary from battles fought in silence. He had lost much, and his heart cried out for something he could not name. The pain inside him felt too deep for words, and he wondered if anyone could truly understand the weight he carried. He would often sit by the river, its waters flowing peacefully, yet his heart was anything but calm. The river did not question his silence. It did not judge his brokenness. It simply flowed as it had always done, carrying the whispers of the earth to the sea. And in the stillness of that sacred place, the man would speak to the Creator. But his words were few, for his pain was too great for speech. He prayed without words, his heart crying out in the quiet places of his soul, seeking peace that seemed so far away. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and red, the man felt something shift. It was not a sound nor a voice that broke the silence. It was a feeling of deep, knowing presence that surrounded him like the embrace of an elder. The wind carried a gentle whisper, soft yet firm. I see you, my child. I hear your silent prayers. I feel the weight of your soul. You are not alone. The man's heart trembled, for he knew this voice. It was the Creator, the Great Spirit who walks with us, who sees our struggles even when we cannot see Him. In that moment, the man felt the burden begin to lift, not because the pain disappeared, but because he knew he was not carrying it alone. The Creator, in His infinite wisdom, understood the unspoken ache within him, and He offered something more powerful than answers peace. The Creator's peace was not the absence of struggle, but the assurance that no matter how deep the pain, He was with him. It was like the earth beneath his feet, steady and unwavering, even when the storms of life raged above. The peace He offered was not based on circumstances, but on His presence, which filled the man's heart with the calm of a river flowing gently, steady, and sure. I will protect you, the Creator whispered. I will guard your heart, even in the darkest of nights. No matter where you walk, I walk with you. You are seen, you are known, and you are loved. The man felt the truth of those words wrap around him like a cloak of warmth. For the first time in many moons, he allowed himself to rest in the knowledge that he was not forgotten. His prayers, though silent, were heard. His pain, though deep, was understood. The Creator was present, and in that presence, the man found his strength renewed. His heart, once heavy, now felt lighter, for he knew that the Creator would carry the burdens he could not bear. The next day, as the man continued his journey, he walked with a new sense of purpose. His steps were no longer weighed down by the sorrow he had carried for so long. The peace he had received from the Creator filled him, and though the path ahead was still uncertain, he knew he was not walking it alone. The Creator, in His kindness, had given him the protection of His presence, and with it, the courage to face whatever lay ahead. The man came to understand that the Creator does not promise a life free from pain, but He promises to be with us through every moment of it. He sees our struggles, hears our silent prayers, and offers peace that transcends our understanding. The Creator's love is not bound by time or circumstance. It is a constant, ever-present force that walks with us through every trial, offering protection and healing in ways we may not always see, but will always feel. As the man continued his journey, he would often pause by the river, feeling the peace of the Creator in his heart. And though the river flowed quietly, he knew that beneath the surface, it carried the whispers of the earth, the promises of the Creator, and the assurance that he was not alone. In the vast expanse of the wilderness, where the mountains rise tall and the rivers flow with purpose, there is a truth that the land speaks to all who will listen. Waiting is part of the process. The earth knows this truth deeply, for the cycles of nature unfold slowly, patiently, with every leaf that falls and every seed that sprouts. There is no rush, only the steady, unbroken rhythm of life that follows the will of the Creator. Long ago, there was a young warrior who walked the land with dreams in his heart. His feet carried him far, through forests thick with ancient trees, across rivers that wound like veins through the earth, and over mountains that touched the sky. His heart was strong, his spirit fierce, but his journey was long, and the path before him was uncertain. He felt the weight of time on his shoulders, each day a struggle to understand why his dreams had not yet come to pass. He often sat by the river, watching the water flow, its current steady and sure. He would speak to the Creator in silence, asking for strength, for guidance, for the path to be made clear. Why does this journey feel so long? Why must I wait for what I know is meant for me? He would ask. But the river, patient and unhurried, did not answer in words. It simply flowed, carrying its waters towards the sea, one drop at a time. It was in these moments of quiet that the young warrior began to understand something deeper. The Creator did not speak to him in loud, thunderous voices, but in the stillness of the world around him. The wind, the trees, the river all were part of the teaching. The warrior came to realize that waiting was not a sign of defeat, but a part of the process. The earth waits for the rain waits for the seed to grow, and the seed waits for the right time to bloom. Every delay, every pause was part of something greater. One day, as he sat by the river, he heard a whisper, not with his ears, but deep in his heart. You are being prepared. The voice was soft, but it carried the weight of the earth itself. The warrior paused, his heart filled with wonder. Prepared for what? He asked. But the answer came not in words, but in the river's steady flow, in the wind's gentle caress, in the sun's rise and set. The warrior understood that the waiting was not about the destination, but about the journey. The Creator was teaching him patience, resilience, and trust. Every step, every pause, every delay was shaping him into the man he needed to become to receive the great blessings that awaited him. Like the tree that grows slowly in the soil, its roots going deep, so too was he growing, though he could not yet see the fruits of his labor. As the seasons changed, the warrior continued his journey, though now he walked with a lighter heart. He no longer resented the wait. Instead, he embraced it, for he knew that every moment of stillness was a moment of preparation. The land had taught him to be patient, to trust in the process, and to understand that all things come in their time. One evening, as he sat under the stars, watching the moon rise above the mountains, he felt a deep peace in his soul. The journey was far from over, but he no longer feared the wait. He had learned that every step, even those that seemed slow or uncertain, was leading him towards his purpose. The Creator had not forgotten him. The Creator was with him, preparing him for the great blessings to come. The warrior smiled to himself, knowing that the waiting was not a burden, but a blessing. It was in the quiet moments of waiting that he had learned the true strength of his spirit. The river continued to flow, the stars continued to shine, and the earth continued its rhythm steadily, patiently, with a purpose that only the Creator fully understood. And so, the warrior walked on, his heart light, his spirit strong. He knew that the greatest blessings were not always those that arrived quickly, but those that came in their own time, after patience, after waiting, after preparation. For the Creator's timing is perfect, and every delay, every pause, is part of the sacred journey towards the life He has promised. In the quiet of the mountains, where the earth breathes deeply and the sky stretches endlessly, there is a truth that echoes through the wind. Peace comes from closeness to the Creator. The animals know it, the trees know it, and the rivers sing of it. They are all a part of the Creator's great rhythm, moving in harmony, flowing in peace, because they are near to the heart of the earth. The Creator invites all His children to draw close, to listen, and to feel the stillness of His presence, for it is there that true peace is found. There was once a young woman named Ayana who lived at the foot of the great mountain. Her life had been filled with many struggles, and her heart was heavy with burdens. Every day she worked the land, tending to her garden and caring for the animals, but there was a restlessness in her spirit. The days felt long, and the nights were filled with unanswered questions. Why was life so difficult? Why did her heart ache for peace, yet it seemed so far away? One evening, as the sun began to set and the sky painted itself with hues of purple and gold, Ayana went to the river to seek solace. The water moved steadily, and the sound of its flow was like a soft song, a prayer from the earth itself. Ayana knelt by the river's edge and placed her hands in the cool water, feeling the earth pulse beneath her fingertips. In that moment, the Creator's presence filled the air. She felt the weight of her heart, the confusion in her mind, and the weariness in her soul. And then a gentle whisper rose from the river, a voice that was not heard with her ears, but felt deep within her heart. "Come closer to me, my child. In my presence, you will find peace." Ayana closed her eyes and listened to the wind as it rustled through the trees. The voice of the Creator was everywhere in the air, in the water, in the rustling leaves, in the beating of her heart. She had always felt His presence, but she had never truly stopped to listen. "Come closer." The words repeated in her soul, and Ayana understood that it was not the world that needed to change, but her own heart. She had been running in circles, seeking peace in the wrong places, in the noise of the world, in the struggles of her own mind. Ayana sat down by the river and closed her eyes, letting her body rest. She breathed deeply, slowly, with each breath drawing closer to the Creator. The earth, the river, the wind, they all seemed to embrace her, to wrap her in warmth and comfort. She was not alone. The Creator was with her. And as she sat there, drawing near, a peace began to fill her heart. It was a peace like the stillness of the forest before the storm, a peace like the steady rhythm of the river, flowing without haste, without worry. In that moment of quiet, Ayana's spirit was renewed. Her heart, once heavy with the weight of unanswered questions, now felt light. The strength she had longed for began to fill her, not from her own doing, but from the Creator's presence. She could feel His strength coursing through her veins, and for the first time in many moons, she felt truly at peace. "You are not alone," the Creator whispered. "I am with you always, and I will give you the strength to carry the burdens of your heart." Ayana stood up, feeling the strength in her legs, the calm in her chest, and the clarity in her mind. She walked along the river's edge, her steps steady, her heart light. She knew that peace would not come from the world, from the struggles she faced, or from the burdens she carried. Peace would come from drawing near to the Creator, from resting in His presence, from listening to the quiet whispers of His love. In the days that followed, Ayana returned to the river often, seeking the Creator's presence. She did not seek answers to her questions, for she knew that in time, the answers would come. She did not seek relief from her struggles, for she knew that strength would be given when needed. Instead, she sought the peace that could only be found in the closeness to the Creator. And as she did, she found renewed hope in her heart, a hope that the Creator would provide, protect, and guide her through all things. One day, as Ayana sat by the river, watching the water flow gently past her, she understood the truth of the Creator's words. "In my presence, you will find peace." And she knew that it was not a one-time gift, but a steady presence, always available, always there to fill the heart with peace and strength, no matter the struggles or storms of life. Ayana stood and looked out over the land. The mountains, the rivers, the trees, all of it was a part of the Creator's grand design, and she was a part of it too. She was never alone. As long as she drew near to the Creator, she would always find the peace she sought, and that peace, she alone. As long as she drew near to the Creator, she would always find the peace she sought. And that peace, she knew, would be the strength she needed to walk the path ahead, with hope in her heart and courage in her spirit. In the heart of the sacred land, where the spirits of ancestors whisper through the winds, there's a truth passed down through generations. God will never abandon you in your suffering. The mountains stand tall, the rivers flow steady, and the trees stretch their limbs to the sky, all a testimony to the strength of the Creator's presence. Just as the earth endures through the storms, so too does the Creator endure with His children, walking beside them, never turning away, even in their darkest moments. Long ago, there was a man named Takoda, which means friend to all, but in the depths of his sorrow, he felt alone. Takoda had known peace in his heart when the sun was high, when the land was fertile and the sky clear. But when the storms of life came, when illness struck his people and the crops failed, Dakota felt his strength slip away like the last of the autumn leaves blown by the wind. The laughter of his family faded, and the warmth of his people grew cold, and in that silence, Dakota found himself wondering if the Creator had forgotten him. He wandered the land, searching for answers, for the voice of the Creator. His steps were slow, his heart heavy, as if the weight of the world pressed down on him. He knelt by the fire and prayed, but his prayers were full of doubt. Why, Creator, have you left me in this suffering? Where is your strength when I need it most? His voice was carried away by the winds, unheard, or so he thought. But the Creator, ever present, heard Dakota's cry, even if it was whispered in despair. The land knew his presence, the animals knew his ways. The wind carried his words in whispers, urging Dakota to rise. He was not abandoned, for the Creator is never distant, never too far to hear the cries of his children. One day, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky with shades of red and orange, Dakota ventured deeper into the forest. His feet carried him to the river that flowed through the heart of the land, where he had once sat in peace. The water had not changed, it flowed steady, just as it always had. But Dakota, weary in his soul, felt empty, like the bare branches of a tree stripped by the cold winds of winter. He knelt beside the river, his hands trembling as he cupped the cool water to his lips. It was then, in the stillness of the moment, that he felt Ida presence beside him, strong yet gentle, as if the land itself had reached out to cradle him. The whisper of the Creator rose from the water, from the earth beneath him, and it filled his heart with warmth. I have never left you, the voice said. I am here, in the quiet, in the storm, in your suffering. You are never alone, for I am with you, always. Even when you feel lost, I walk with you, steady and sure. Dakota closed his eyes and let the words sink into his spirit. The pain, the doubt, the weariness, these were not the end of his story. The Creator had not abandoned him. He had been with him through every trial, every dark night, every tear he had shed. He had walked beside him through every moment of suffering, even when Dakota had not seen him. The land around him, the trees, the river, the mountains, they all whispered of God's eternal presence, of his promises that never failed. I am the Creator who holds you, who carries you, who never abandons you. Even when the road is difficult, I am here, the voice continued. Your suffering will not last forever. It is part of your journey, and through it you will grow. Trust in my presence, for I am with you always. Dakota felt a warmth spread through his chest, as if the earth itself was holding him close. The suffering he had known, the silence of his doubts, began to lift. He opened his eyes and saw the stars begin to shimmer in the night sky, each one a reminder that the Creator was still watching over him. He was not alone. The Creator's love, his presence, was with him, always and forever. Dakota rose to his feet, his heart renewed, his spirit strong. The Creator had never abandoned him, and he never would. His path had not been easy, but Dakota now understood that it was in the waiting, in the suffering, that he had been shaped, just as the earth is shaped by the winds and rains. He had not been forgotten, for the Creator's presence was a constant, a steady companion through every moment of his life. As Dakota walked back through the forest, he felt lighter. The pain was still there, but it no longer ruled him. He had drawn near to the Creator, and in that closeness, he found peace. He knew now that no matter the trials, no matter the storms, the Creator would never leave him. The land, the wind, the river, everything whispered the same truth. You are not alone. I am with you, always. In the heart of the vast land, where the mountains touch the sky and the rivers sing their ancient songs, there lives a truth passed down from generation to generation. You are chosen and loved by the Creator. His love flows as steady as the river's current, as vast as the horizon, and as unchanging as the stars that watch over the earth. This love is not given because of what one does, but because of who one is a child of the Creator. And with this love comes peace. a peace that will protect you from the storms and shadows of life, a peace that guards your heart against all negativity and conflict. There was once a young man named Waya, which means wolf, strong and determined, yet weary in his heart. He had known struggle from an early age. His family faced many hardships. The land was often barren, and the spirits of doubt whispered in his mind. Why does the Creator not favor me? He would ask. Why do I walk alone in these struggles while others seem to have all that they need? Waya's heart was heavy with questions, and though he worked hard, each day seemed to bring new challenges. His soul longed for something deeper, something beyond the struggles of the land and the trials of life. One evening, as the sun dipped low in the sky, painting the world in shades of orange and red, Waya walked alone through the forest. The path was quiet, the air thick with the scent of pine, and the wind carried with it whispers from the past. He sat by a fire, his eyes staring into the flames, his heart heavy with the weight of doubt. It was then that he heard a voice, not from the earth or the wind, but from within his own heart. It was soft, gentle, yet powerful, like the first light of dawn